No nonsense. Hi, and welcome to another show of No Nonsense Psychiatry. Okay, so this will be show number 9. Wow, number 9. I can't believe it. I'm actually really enjoying these shows. I hope that you feel the same. My name's Mark, and as I say, this is going to be show 9. And we've had 8 prior shows which have started with the foundation and establishing the foundation of an introduction, the potential of self versus support, the pros and cons of traditional psychiatry, what is a severe mental health condition, potential advances of having a mental health background, medication isn't the only way. And then we looked at some tools on public humiliation, and the last one being around breathing through negative thoughts. Okay, so we're going to continue with the theme of negative thoughts today, and we're going to introduce 3 more exercises which can sometimes, I think, distract you and reframe what you're actually thinking about, which I think is really, really important for you to get your head around. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to use these in the next couple of days, starting from when the show ends, and see if you notice any changes in the way you are thinking before things get out of control. Anyway, we'll start with the first of 3. It's trying to help you challenge your thoughts and distinguish them between facts and opinions. We have this exercise. It's a simple yet powerful way to build a self-awareness, and the hope is that it shifts your perspective. Okay, so this is a thought challenging exercise. Okay, so often called facts versus opinions. And what it does is it helps you critically evaluate your internal thoughts, monologue. And the goal is to identify negative thoughts and then categorize them as either objective facts or subjective opinions. So there is some steps involved. Okay, so the first step is to try and identify the thought. So when you've noticed a negative thought, the best thing to do is to write it down exactly how it appears in your mind. And don't edit it, just capture it, okay? And then, for instance, that might be, I'm bad at public speaking, okay? And the next step is to look at the thought and ask yourself, is this an objective fact or is this a subjective opinion? So a fact is something that's verifiable, it's provable, it's true for everybody regardless of what they're feeling, okay? So an example of that might be the earth revolves around the sun. Nothing unfactual about that. That's what happens. Okay. An opinion, on the other hand, a personal belief, a judgment, or just a feeling, is kind of subjective and it can't be proven true or false. So, for example, chocolate ice cream is the best flavour. So once you've categorised the thought, write down why. What evidence do you have to support that it's a fact? And if you can't find any, it's likely to be an opinion, isn't it? So carrying on from an example of I'm bad at public speaking, is it a fact? No. Why? There is no universal objective measure or bad public speaking, okay? So what I consider might be bad, someone else considers as passionate or authentic. So my feeling of bad is based on past experience and personal standards and not undeniable, verifiable evidence, okay? So the next step is to reframe it, isn't it? So now that you've identified the thought as an opinion, perhaps in a way that's more factual than neutral, the statement could be less about your identity and more about the specific behaviour or situation. So again, the example, I'm bad at public speaking, reframed could be, I felt nervous during my last presentation, or I want to improve my public speaking skills. So you can see what's happened there, okay? You've reframed the thought. You've moved from a fixed negative self-label to a more accurate, actionable statement. Actionable statement. Actionable. God, I can't get my words out. So instead of believing a limiting opinion, you can now focus on specific behaviours that you can change. And this practice really gradually weakens the power of negative thoughts and empowers you to respond to them with greater clarity and compassion. Let's look at some more. All right, so let's try another one. The evidence log, okay? So this exercise helps you act like a detective. You can be Columbo if you're from my era, or you could be NCIS, whatever you want to be. And so what you want to do is try and gather objective evidence that is for or against your thought. Okay, so it's a great way to move beyond feelings and focus on facts. Okay, so the first step is to write down your negative thought. So this may be, my boss doesn't think I'm very good at my job. So what you need to do next is to create 2 columns of evidence. And on one side, you list all the evidence for the thought. And on the other side, you list all the evidence against it. So try to be specific, okay? Don't make things up. And try to be factual, okay? So you might have in the evidence for thinking that your boss thinks you're no good at your job, is that he didn't respond to my email right away. He sighed when I asked questions in the meeting. Another colleague was assigned to a task that I wanted to report on. Okay? But on the other side, it could be, he gave me a good performance review last month. He trusted me with a new project. He asked for my opinion on a report. Or the sigh could have been for just about something else. So now we need to analyse the evidence, don't we? Okay, so review your list. Do you have any more evidence supporting the thought or contradicting it? Often you find there's little to no hard evidence to support your negative thought. And the evidence is usually based on interpretation, okay? Your perception and not fact, okay? So for a new balanced thought from that, based on the evidence, write down a new thought that could be more neutral and realistic. And this might be, I'm worried my boss thinks that I am not very good at my job, but the evidence shows that he trusts me with important work and values my input. The new thought then really acknowledges the feelings without letting the negative opinion dictate your reality. Okay, so that's another way that you can reframe things, isn't it? So here's another way to challenge negative thoughts, okay? And this is called the friend's perspective, okay? And this helps you view your situation with more compassion and objectivity by stepping outside your own head. Yeah, often, I always say to people, often it's good to get the support of somebody that's not emotionally attached to your situation and to you, okay? And as well as nice as it is to have people that you know support you in decisions, sometimes that can be a bit of a hindrance to you as well, because they've got the best intentions. And my best intentions for anything, particularly when it comes to my friends and my family, is to protect them. But you can kind of impede people as well when you do that. So it's about having that emotional detachment, which is kind of important. So with this one, it's more about stepping outside of your own head, something that's not emotionally attached. So you write down your negative thought, and this could be, I'm a complete failure because I messed up that project. So imagine a close friend told you the exact same thing about themselves. Picture them saying the words to you. How would you respond? What would you say to comfort and support them? So your response to your friend could be, that's not true. Everybody makes mistakes. You've had so many successes in the past, and one project doesn't define your entire career. You're being a bit hard on yourself, eh? So now, take those compassionate words that you gave your friend and say them to yourself. And this helps you recognize the double standard, in how you treat yourself versus how you treat others. We're often so much more harder on ourselves, aren't we, than we would be to a friend. So give them a bit of time to rephrase that, and rethink that. So now add a little bit of compassion and change that negative thought into a more forgiving and realistic one, and using perspective that you've just gained from applying that same advice to your friend, okay? So example could be, I made a mistake on that project, but it doesn't mean I'm a complete failure. I'll learn from it and I'll do better next time. Well, look, I really hope you got something from the last 3 exercises, and I hope you can take them forward and use them in your everyday to try and reduce some of those negative thoughts that you might have about yourself and about situations and others around you. I think, I think it's really important to take some responsibility. And I know this is hard work to write things down and go through things, but it's really going to benefit you at the end of the day. And you're going to have a much more smoother run at life, if you like. So look, if you get something out of this, great. If you feel that someone else might get something out of it, please share it with them and let them sort of get on board with it as well. Hey, subscribe to the show. It's on various platforms, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe and then you can get some regular updates. I hope you liked it. Take care and I'll see you again. No nonsense.